the term. So it's very important you read directions carefully. And if you're talking about a finite series, which means that it ends and you want the sum, there are two formulas. Take your pick, doesn't really matter. I think that I usually use, I don't even remember what I use. Which one do you want to use? First or second?
First. Second.
All in favor of the first one, raise your hand. Okay, it's the second one then. So we're going to use the second one. It's the same formula, fellas. Duh. Alright, so now I'm going to find the sum. Every time I look to find the sum, I always do the same thing. I always go, oh, the sum of my numbers, however many I want, is my number of things I'm talking about times the first thing plus that last thing, all divided by 2. So I look up into my list of numbers here, separated by a plus. That's why I know it's called a series. And I notice that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 things. What does that represent?
N.
N. So I now have S sub 11 equals 11 times parentheses. What's the first number?
1.
Last number?
51.
And all of that's over 2. So just type that in, pop out your number, 286. First number, last number, and the number of things.
I don't know why it kind of reminds me of
Crayons, because there's a lot of colors.
Factorial.
In number 7, they don't list out all. Oh, sorry. Okay, the next one, they don't give us the list. So I think it might be useful to actually start writing down part of this list. So what I'm going to do is, when they say the sum of the first 20 multiples of 3, so I'm going to write down the multiples of 3. So for example, 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 3 is 9, and it keeps on going. If you want 20 of them, 3 times 20 is 60. That's the last number, just in case you were wondering. So then if I use my formula, I have the sum of the first 20 numbers equals the number of numbers, which is 20, times parentheses the first number plus the last number, all divided by 2. Or in other words, 20 divided by 2 is 10. 10 times 63 is 630. So you see the word partial here? That basically means it doesn't go on forever. They give you some important piece of information. 15th partial sum just means find the first 15. So as I do my formula, as usual, I write it down. S of n equals n a1 plus an all over 2. If I want the 15th partial sum, I know that that 15 is my n. I know my first a is a1, which is the number 2, but I don't know an. So I need that. So I'm going to find an by going, oh, a sub 15, because I want the 15th number, is equal to a1, which is 2, plus parentheses n, which is 15 minus 1 times d. The difference is 3, because it's going up by 3 each time. And this formula gives me my 15th term, because I have to find that. When I put that all together, I get 44. Somebody check my math. No, forget it. Don't check it. I already know it's right. Then I put in my formula, so S sub 15 for the 15 things will be 15 times the first thing, which is 2, plus the last thing, which is 44, all that divided by 2. So when you type this in your calculator, 3, 4, 5. Number 9, they use symbology. And all this means is just like we did before in our earlier lessons. Start with the number 1 for the counter and keep on going. So what this is talking about, when you see the sigma there, that means you're summing something up. This is a series. So the first thing is 2 times 1, which is 2. Because I plugged a 1 in for the n. Because it says on the bottom of the E thing, the sigma, start with the number 1. So 2 times 1. The second number that I would be plugging in would be a 2. So 2 times 2 is 4. And then I would stick in a 3 and get 6. And then I'd stick in a 4 and get 8. And I would keep on going until the very last thing that I stick in. What's the very last thing I stick in? 100. So 2 times 100 is 200. Is this what I really wanted? No, I actually want the sum. So to find the sum, I use my formula. Sum of whatever amount of numbers is my number of things times my first number plus my last number all over 2. In this case, having written down some of that stuff, I know that that means the sum of the first 100 numbers, because I'm going from 1 to 100 as the counter, is 100 times my first number, which is 2, plus my last number, which is 200. All of that divided by 2. It's going to be a big number.
100, 1.
So hopefully on your calculator you get 10,100. Give that a And the last one, the sum of the first 1,000 numbers, should be 1,000 times 1 plus 1,000 divided by 2. It's a nice, beautiful number, my cholesterol level and my blood pressure. 500,500. Okay, so the 2 big ideas today, we learned about 2 things. First thing, we talked about how to find any term in an arithmetic sequence. That was the a sub n equals a sub 1 plus parentheses n minus 1 parentheses times d. That's when you're looking for a term. Arithmetic means that you're adding or subtracting in a sequence. And the second thing we did is we found the sum of an arithmetic sequence that's finite, meaning it does not go on forever. There are only so many terms, like 7 or 100 or 12.